So now that we figured out how to write two tests, we figured out how to identify elements, let's run our tests and practice some automation testing best practices. So here, thanks to ReSharper, by the way, I can run my tests like this. If you have Visual Studio, the way you run your tests is by going right-clicking and then doing run unit tests. Or maybe it's this one, run tests or debug tests, depending what you want. I just want to run it. Let's run that and see what happens. Here comes Firefox. Let's go back to Visual Studio. By the way, I apologize that this opens in such a small resolution. Not sure what that is, but I'm gonna figure that out. Anyways, so the test failed. Let me put that here. Through an exception, no such element exception, it wasn't able to find login error. Interesting. So our test failed, that's fine. And the fact that this test failed is actually excellent because it supports one of the automation testing principles that I want to teach you guys. And that is to make sure that when your test fails, it actually fails, right? Can you imagine if you write an automated test that never fails? And so it always reports that it's passing but incorrectly, and therefore you think that the functionality is working when in fact it may not be. So that's probably one of the more important rules that I want to teach you guys, is to make sure that your test fails. So I summarized that for you here, that when you're writing a test, first you make sure it fails, then we refactor, then we make sure that it passes. So let's go back to Visual Studio. We just saw it fail. Let's figure out why. I'm going to put a breakpoint here, and I'm going to debug this test. Let me close my other instance of Firefox. And now I'm going to click here and then debug. So let's see what happened there. It typed in username and password, and now we can see that this error popped up, and let's make sure that we catch that error. I'm going to step in. Actually, let me step over, and now step over again, and it was displayed. You guys can actually see that here, error displayed as true. And if you want to analyze it, you can look at this object, click this down arrow, and it's going to open up, and you can see displayed as true, enabled as true, which is exactly right. So it now passed successfully, and we know that when it fails, it will also fail. Let me stop.